Everything you've ever changed about your life started in your head. It started in your head. It started in your mind. It started with a decision. It all starts in your mind.
What we think is the best many times is far less than what God has in mind. You haven't seen your best days. You may feel stuck. Doors have closed. That all happened for a reason. The best part of your life is not behind you. The best part of your life is the next part of your life. You wouldn't be discouraged over that door that closed if you knew what God was about to open. You haven't seen or imagined what God has in store. Don't live frustrated, thinking that there's something wrong with you, trying to prove to them who you are, trying to convince them to affirm you. Let it go. There's nothing wrong with you. If you had to have it, they would give it. Since you don't, shake it off. Keep your head held high. Your value doesn't come from people. It comes from your Creator.
Either you take on the shape of your environment or you resist it and transform by the renewing of your mind. You can't get out of something that you're not willing to put into it. You have to put your everything, your mind, your energy, your effort, your discipline. Nothing is going to jump out the fire. If you don't throw something in there, it's not going to happen. It's a commitment. It's not a feeling. You do it because you're supposed to.
Many people give up on the 1-yard line. See, life is not just that simple. It's not that cut and dry. And that's why most people never realize their personal greatness, because they're casual about life. And when you're casual about life, you will end up a casualty.
Try your best to trust God. Trust God's timing. And when He is sending you bold signs and wonders, use those as confirmation. When God is trying to steer you in a particular direction, it's like little pieces of popcorn down a hallway. And at some point, you're going to get to that whole bucket.
Love yourself. Make caring for you the highest priority in your life. Look out for what truly satisfies you. We're not taught to look out for ourselves. We're not taught to take care of ourselves, to become sensitive to our wants, our desires. So make a conscious effort. Make you #1 priority. Your health is more important than your family and any and everybody. Because if you don't have your health, you can't serve anybody. Don't neglect yourself.
Greatness takes tremendous focus. It takes decisions that you make, and you can't always have everybody approving of what you know you're supposed to do. And the sooner you understand that, the sooner you'll do great in life. You cannot have the approval of everyone and be great. You're always going to live your life at the lowest common denominator of your friends if you don't watch it.
When you receive the message, when you receive the confirmations that these people that are around you are sucking you dry. So how could you have any love left inside of your heart to take care of your kids or your family when you got these people around you that are sucking you dry? I got nothing left. I'm going down. I'm melting.
So feeling safe and feeling secure is very important to me, and I think it's very important to every single person. I think that God created us to feel safe, secure, confident, and bold. Your soul maybe has it blocked, but God did not create you for fear and worry and insecurity and a lack of confidence and extreme shyness and extreme timidity.
You will become whatever you cultivate. Whatever you feed, that's what's going to grow in your life. I'm saved, but I gotta change my diet. I'm saved, but I gotta change who influences me, who speaks into my life, who feeds my mind, who determines what looks good on me, who determines what I can do and who I am. What's wrong with you is all those people who knew you win, because if they knew you win, they'll hold you to back then. I gotta go.
Too many people looking for identity and value, and they're looking for it in all the wrong places. They look for it in what they do, who they know, what they own, what they look like. And I think that we need to do our best to look as good as we can. All I can say is take what God's given you and do the best you can with it. But don't be comparing yourself with somebody else.
I become confident when I get the right view of other people and I get the right view of myself. It's amazing, right? You ever notice that arrogance requires advertising, but confidence speaks for itself? In fact, insecurity, cynicism, and arrogance, they're all loud. But confidence doesn't even have to speak, because confidence isn't based on your words. Confidence is an action. It's an ability to step into the moment and say, I'm not backing down, I'm not quitting, I got my confidence back, and I can fulfill.
Your tongue is the rudder for your life. It's determining the direction. Next time you're tempted to say something negative about yourself, your future, your finances, zip it up. Don't steer yourself toward defeat. Say not, you're too young. Say not, you can't accomplish your dreams. God wouldn't have given them to you if you weren't well able.
Why are you living a life to impress them? Why are you placing value on what they think? Doing all these things to impress them. Why? I'll tell you something right now, man. You need to place value on the people who love you at your worst, because those are the people who deserve to be there when you're at your best.
If you don't heal from emotional wounds, you will bleed on people that had nothing to do with it. How many people are living wounded over how they were raised, a friend that walked away? Instead of letting it go, they replay it in their mind. They wonder why they don't have good relationships. It's because they haven't healed. They're living out of a wounded place.
Isn't it amazing how one bad relationship can ruin all of your other relationships? If we're really being honest tonight, most of the pain in our life, it comes from relationship pain. Some of the hardest things for us to get over, they're attached to people.
Despise not the day of small beginnings. And so many people say, when I get a big break, when a big door opens, when somebody notices me, but that is not the key to success. The key to success is to start where you are, right where you are, not when things get better, but start where you are.
The only thing worse than one who is inconsistent in applying their self-imposed disciplines is one who has never considered the need or the value of discipline at all, changing loyalties and shifting frequently from one commitment to another, leaving behind a trail of broken friendships and unfulfilled promises, all because of a discipline that was either non-existent or imposed so infrequently that it was ineffective.
Most of us are worried about suffering. We're afraid of it. When we're suffering and sacrificing, we wonder whether it's worth it. We wonder whether sacrifice or setbacks or suffering is a sign it's not our real dream. See, at the gym, you never think, oh, I'm going through some pain and discomfort. This must be a sign I shouldn't be at the gym. You'd never think that. You have to break it down, suffer and sacrifice for it to grow.
When you need motivation yourself, don't look for someone to scream and yell. Don't look for someone else to give you motivation. Look at yourself and remind yourself why you are doing what you are doing. This temporary pain, this fight, this is what will make you stronger.
That's the key word, discipline, self-discipline, consistent self-discipline. It doesn't really matter how smart you are or how much you know if you don't use it. Better than knowledge is applied knowledge. And once we've applied our knowledge, we must study the results of that process.
Get the clutter out. Start letting some of this junk go to make some room for something else. Do that with people. There's some people who's cluttering up your life. They're just holding and occupying the space that somebody useful, positive could be holding that space. You don't even have time to look to see what else is out there because you all have all of these people surrounding you that's not enabling you to grow.
Some of you tonight, you've experienced someone failing you. Maybe your mom was never there. Maybe it was a boyfriend who promised you the world but took off. Before you know it, what happens is these failures are holding us back from getting into our future. And these bad relationships are blinding us from all of the good potential relationships.
Success is all about building relationships. It's not what you know, it's who you know. Some people might not step up when you ask them for help. But guess what? The worst thing can happen to you. If somebody refuses you, you didn't have it anyway. Ask people. You never know. Suppose they say yes. That could be the turning factor.
You will travel in the direction of your thinking. If you think down, you will go down. If you think up, you will come up. The way you think about your situation determines your reality. The way you think about your family determines your reality. The way you think about yourself. You're not being hurt by the way people think about you. Many of those people are a reflection of how you think about you. If you think about yourself a certain way, you will attract people who think about you a certain way. And you will expel from your life people who do not line up with how you think about yourself. The mind then becomes the battleground. The mind, Satan is always trying to do battle to take over your mind with warfare. Some of you is fighting your thoughts right now.
I want to begin the process of deserving. What would that be? What process should I begin engaging in to deserve good health, to deserve a good relationship? What must I do to begin the process of deserving?
There's enough people that are telling us we can't do it, that we're not good enough. Why do we want to tell ourselves that? We know for a fact that thoughts influence actions. We need to get our own self-affirmations. There need to be quiet moments in your bedroom, quiet moments when you're brushing your teeth, that we need to reaffirm, I am the captain of my ship and the master of my fate.
If you don't know who you are, you'll discount yourself, thinking, oh man, I'm ordinary, nothing much to offer, nothing special about me. Now life will try to make you feel like you're anything but amazing. Disappointments, betrayals, rejection will try to steal your sense of value. But all through the day, despite what thoughts are telling you, despite who left you out, you need to remind yourself, I am amazing. I have been wonderfully made. Don't go around feeling ordinary when in fact you're extraordinary. People may try to make you feel average. You don't have much to offer. Are you going to believe what people say about you or believe what God says about you? You're amazing. Have you ever said that to yourself? It has to start on the inside.
If people can understand that as long as they don't forgive, they're poisoning themselves. It's like me being mad at somebody who hurt me that's out having a good time and don't even care that I'm mad. That doesn't hurt them. It's pointless. It's like, okay, you hurt me, but now if I'm going to hate you, then I'm letting you continue to hurt me. And you're controlling my life, and I'm not going to do that.
It is your values. It is your ethics. It is how you make choices that get you promoted. It is not your strength. It is not your talent. It is not how you fight. It is not how you draw. It is not your intellectualism. It is your values. So that when you are backed up against the wall and you have to make a decision, true leadership is how you make decisions in the moment. What do you care the most about? Being seen or being connected?
Doors of opportunity are open to those who continually knock. So we don't find open doors of opportunity because we need them. We find them because we deserve them. Only those who knock deserve to find an open door. It's as if you search, you will find. Finding is reserved for the searchers because they deserve it. Now, at first they may have needed it, but they now know that just needing it is not sufficient. The reason why you're going to be blessed with good ideas is because you've come searching. And for those who search, they will find answers. To find a good idea, you must go looking if you wish to find. Rarely does a good idea interrupt you. So we get not what we need, but we get what we deserve. It says if you ask, someone has an answer. If you keep asking, the answers belong to you. So we don't get what we need, we get what we deserve.
Living in mourning is going to keep the new doors from opening. You have to heal so you can see the new relationships, the new opportunities. And the quicker you let things go, the easier it is. Your time is valuable. That's a distraction trying to get you off course.
This is a verse you must remember all your life. It says, man's days are determined. That means you don't decide how long you live. Your life is on a timer.
Extreme environments will turn you into a different creature. Extreme environments will make you move differently. It can happen in the midst of a dark depression, even in the middle of a gut-wrenching heartbreak, in the midst of unimaginable loss. It can happen. My question to you is, what's about to change inside of you that's going to make people think you can defy gravity?
It takes discipline to plan. It takes discipline to execute our plan. And it takes discipline to change either our plan or our method of executing that plan if the results are poor. It takes discipline to ponder the value of someone else's opinion when our pride and our arrogance leads us to believe that we are the only ones with the answers.
What are your expectations? What do you expect to get from life? What do you expect to get from your relationships? What is your ideal day? What is it that you expect from this journey that you're involved in? People that have a strong sense of self-approval, they have high expectations for themselves and from others.
I must be great. I'm pretty. I must be great. I have this. Validation that comes from stuff is never God. I'm really rubbing the grain. Y'all with me? Are you still with me? You can't wear a watch until who made it. You step on the runway. What are you wearing? You got everybody's name on you but your own.
So no one is better or less when it comes to time and change. You become what you are by how you use your 24.
You have no idea how strong you are. You're not in this thing, life, by yourself. But one of the things that I know about this thing called life, recognize what had happened, the role that I played in it, I had to keep it moving. Got to keep it moving.
Each of us must live off the fruit of his thoughts in the future, because what you think today and tomorrow, next month and next year, will mold your life and determine your future. You're guided by your mind.
You have built-in greatness. You have built-in power to handle whatever life throws at you. And life is going to be throwing a lot of stuff. Nobody's going to be spared. That's why Viktor Frankl called it unavoidable suffering. But suffering is a choice, because you can suffer or you can choose to do whatever you need to do to overcome whatever you are stuck in right now.
Never underestimate the power of influence and associations, and never underestimate the power of your own consistent self-discipline. Sleep late, show up late. Waiting is always easier than acting. Imagine what life would be like if we didn't have to make our bed in the morning. Wouldn't it be fascinating if we didn't have to do these things? What do you suppose would become of us? You're right, not much.
One of the great distractions of chasing our dreams is this thing that goes off in our head as we're negotiating the price we're paying. Is it getting too high? Is it too much? And you'll have people in your ear, it's too big a sacrifice. You're going through too much. It distracts all your focus. You can't be executing and negotiating simultaneously. So negotiate it now. Negotiate it with me now. What are you willing to pay? For me, when I'm after something big, as long as it's legal, ethical, and moral, I'll sacrifice everything else.
Greatness is not income. On the other hand, poverty is equated to greatness in a lot of people, that if they have nothing, they must be great. And neither one is true. You're not great because you're poor. You're not great because you're rich. Your greatness is not based upon your income.
As ye sow, so shall ye reap. It's the realization that your limitations are self-imposed and that the opportunities for you today are enormous beyond belief. To use all your courage to force yourself to think positively on your own problem. To let your marvelous mind think about your goal from all possible angles.
There's some stuff you need to clean out and clear out in your life. Some activities, some relationships, some things, some events, some wrong thoughts, some misconceptions, mental, physical, emotional, spiritual rubble in your life that you need to clear out. What's the rubble in your life? It's the stuff that keeps tripping you up.
You can't give away what you don't have. Now, it sounds ridiculous, but it's more than what meets the ear as you hear this. You can't give away what you don't have. People who are not good at giving away love can't give away love because they don't have it to give away. If I want to give you a dozen oranges, I can't give you those dozen oranges unless I go out and pick up 12 oranges someplace. Otherwise, all it is just empty rhetoric. And the same thing is true of virtually everything in your life. You can't give away love for others if you don't have love in here to give away. If what you have in here is contempt, if what you have in here is anger, if what you have in here is fear, then these are the things you're going to be giving away in your life.
Don't allow your emotions to control you. If you don't discipline and contain your emotions, they will use you. Your mind goes on automatic. Weeds don't have to have any encouragement to grow. You don't have to water them. They don't have to get sunshine. They don't have to have fertile ground. They will grow through the cracks of a sidewalk. But if you want to grow orchids or roses or any kind of exotic flowers, there are special processes and procedures you must go through. You don't have to force yourself or motivate yourself to think negatively, to be depressed, to hate somebody, to want revenge, to want to get back at somebody, to beat yourself up over the head, to feel loaded with guilt. You don't have to make any effort to do that. You've got to be willing to harness your will. Your mind is on automatic. It will do that by itself. You've got to find ways to increase your sense of self-appreciation, because if you don't, you're bombarded with negative stuff every day that beats you down, and you will find yourself unconsciously engaged in self-destructive behavior. If you don't program yourself, life will program you.
You got to get grounded. You got to train your mind to serve you. Just make up your mind. This is not going to control you.
You have got to make a declaration. This is what you stand for. You're standing up for your dreams. You're standing up for peace of mind. You're standing up for health. You want it, and you're going to go all out to have it. It's not going to be easy. When you want to change, it's not easy. If it were in fact easy, everybody would do it. But if you're serious, you'll go all out and say, in spite of this, I'm in control here. I'm going to turn this situation around. I'm not going to sit back and moan and cry over what happened and what went wrong and who did what. I'm going to do something about this situation.
Many years ago, I read a book by Terry Cole Whitaker. It was a classic. What you think of me is none of my business. Think of the amount of time that is wasted on negative energy, wondering what other people think of you. What they think of you really doesn't make any difference. It's what you think of you that makes a difference. So as you go through the day, don't worry about what other people think of you. Just say, I'm all right. I'm God's highest form of creation.
So what people tell you doesn't matter at all. It's what you stack. It's what you assemble. It's what you create. It's the habit of what you put in your head. And today I don't blame you, because we got a whole culture that's always blaming somebody else for something in their life.
It's truly a scientific fact that when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And now you take this tiny little subatomic particle, and you take it and you put it in a particle accelerator, and you rev up the speed of these things and collide them at 250,000 miles per hour. You collide them, you open up the particle accelerator looking for your source, and guess what's in there? Nothing. No thing. That the dot that began you originated from a field of energy that has no boundaries, no beginnings, no ends. It's infinite. It's an infinite potential. And the question that I have for you is, if you can get this, that you didn't begin with that particle because particles themselves do not create more particles. St. Paul put it this way in the New Testament, that which is seen hath not come from that which doth appear. They talked a little strange in those days, right? What that means is that everything that we see in the material world doesn't originate in the material world. It's the spirit that gives life. The flesh counts for nothing. If the shape of your eye can be in an energy field that has no boundaries, no form, no materialness to it, why not the shape of your life?
You have got to change the way you think. It is the whole determining factor of where you go in life. We are all where we are today because we thought ourselves to this position. If you don't like the position, think yourself out of it. Your brain is divided into two halves, positive and negative, good and evil. It don't function on nothing else. Ain't no neutral ground in your brain. It's either positive and good or negative and evil. Each half of your brain has millions of factory workers on each side. You got 1 million factory workers on the positive side. You got 1 million factory workers on the negative side. At the forefront of each one of those factories in your brain is a foreman. You got foreman positive and you got foreman negative. You are in charge. You're the boss of the factory. Guess what? We are how we think. So now, since your brain is in two halves, let me show you how this works. You wake up in the morning and you say, man, I don't feel myself today. I got up on the wrong side of the bed. I'm not a morning person. Foreman negative hears that. He steps to the front. He said, what did you say? You say, I said I woke up on the wrong side of the bed today. I'm not myself. I'm not a morning person. He says, you got it right away. He said, hey, the boss just woke up and said he's not a morning person. He's having a bad day today, and he ain't feeling himself. Let's get to work. The 1 million factory workers start producing thoughts to justify what you just said. So now guess what? Man, I hate my alarm clock went off this morning. I got to get out here in this traffic. I'm gonna drive down here today. I don't even like these people on my job. I can't stand this car I'm finna get in this morning. Sure wish I had a new car, but I'm driving this ragged ass car. And on and on and on. And your day starts tumbling into what you ordered at the top of the day. You can wake up in the morning and you say, you know what? Today is gonna be a great day today. I expect something really good to happen for me today. You said, what did you say? You say, I said I'm having a great day today. I expect something good to happen today. Foreman positive turns around and goes, all right, let me have your attention. Steve's having a great day today. He's expecting some wonderful things to happen. And man, let's get it going. And they start manufacturing thoughts. Same brain. Man, I can't wait to go to work today. It may not be the job I want, but at least I got a job. I'm sure grateful I got a car to drive to work today. Hey man, at least I got a check coming in. I appreciate the fact that I don't have a car, but at least I can walk to the train. Man, this is gonna be great today. That's how your mind works 24/7. It never turns off. Change your attitude, you change your altitude.
It all depends on how you look at it.
Our lives are mostly affected by the way we think things are, not the way they are. The way we think they are affects us most. And Shoaff taught me that the mind is like a factory, a mental factory. And whatever you think about all day long pours ingredients into this mental factory. And that's what builds the economic, social, financial fabric of your life. As you think, so you become.
Some of you have been giving security clearance to things and people that have no business getting near your heart. You need to learn how to guard that thing, because if you don't guard it, stuff gets in it, and what gets in it comes out of it. That's why you have to decide that I'm gonna guard my heart, and I'm not gonna let anything get security clearance. Guess what? Shame, you don't have clearance to my heart. Insecurity, you don't have clearance to my heart. Doubt, sorry, you don't have clearance. Depression, you don't belong in my heart. Loneliness, not anymore. I'm not giving you access. I'm guarding my heart so I can rebuild and become stronger. Your intake matters. What are you taking in? What are you consuming during this moment of broken heart?
Do you have those people in life that appeal to the worst in you and not the best in you? And whenever they connect with you, they bring you down to where you were before?
Who do you allow to be in your ear? What kind of relationships are you developing? Are they an asset to you, or they are a liability? Do they elevate your spirits, or do they tear you down? We get two types of people: nourishing people and toxic people. Nourishing people, they bring the best out of you. They encourage you, they inspire you, they hold you accountable. Toxic people, they are critical people, always telling you what you can't do. They're always measuring your possibilities based upon their failures. They don't know what's possible for you. My mother said, never let anybody tell you what you can't do, son, especially if they haven't done it. So as you begin to look at yourself, begin to identify the relationships that you communicate with most and say, hey, is this relationship helpful to me?
You need to learn to think, because thinking makes you act effectively in the world. Thinking makes you win the battles you undertake, and those could be battles for good things. If you can think and speak and write, you are absolutely deadly. Nothing can get in your way.
I don't care how much you murmur and complain and kick and fuss and scream and yell. When you know that God has a plan for your life, He has you tied up while you're acting crazy. Tie you up while you're trying to do your own thing. Tie you up while your ambition is out of control. Tie you up while your temper is raging. Sometimes God will tie you up till the time is right. Nothing will work. Your money won't work. Your career won't work. The boyfriend will leave. The house will sell. Because when God has you tied up, He's not going to let you get away. Has there anybody in here that's ever been tied up? When I look at how my friends got loose, I thank Him for tying me up. I wasn't happy about it then, but I'm glad about it now.
Feelings will lead us astray. Feelings can get us into trouble. And throughout life, you're going to have plenty of opportunities to lose your temper and say things you regret. You're going to get up some mornings and feel like being depressed, feel like being impatient, feel like getting upset. See, the feelings are always going to be there. But we've got to learn how to follow wisdom and do what we know is right and not just follow our feelings around. I heard somebody say, I can feel my emotions rising, but I made a decision not to get on board. Just because you can feel those emotions doesn't mean you have to get on board. And to be disciplined means to do the right thing when you feel like doing the wrong thing. When you feel like saying something that you know you shouldn't say, no, don't get on board. If things aren't going your way and you kind of feel like being discouraged, no, you've got to learn to discipline the negative feelings and keep a good attitude anyway. When somebody offends you, you feel like holding a grudge, no, discipline that emotion and learn to forgive them anyway.
Trying to handle heartbreak, it's so important that we understand there has to be output to our life. Listen to me, if you're broken, don't take a break. Don't let the person who didn't love you stop you from meeting the person who will love you. See, what the enemy wants to do is the enemy wants to isolate you. And the enemy wants you to find some valley, and he wants you to camp out in that valley and say, nobody understands me, and nobody knows how bad my heart is broken, and nobody gets me, and because nobody gets me, I'm gonna go and do this thing all on my own. But I have come to remind you that that is a lie from the pit of hell. That is simply a reaction. And if you're ever gonna rebuild, it's gonna require to share with one another and walk through it together.
I'm going to make it. It's possible. Your dream is possible. Say that to yourself every day. Feed your mind with words that you write and words that you speak to yourself. Feed your faith, and your doubts will starve to death. It's possible. It's possible. Even when you have no evidence to point to, say to yourself, it's possible. There's nothing as powerful as a made-up mind. It's a struggle sometimes to do that, especially when you have people around you telling you that it's not possible. And they're constantly pointing out your failures of the past, constantly reminding you of all of the things that you don't have going for you.
Pain of discipline weighs ounces, but the pain of regret weighs tons. And if we live a lazy, undisciplined life, and we just give in to our feelings, and we act on these emotional impulses, we're going to make very poor choices that we regret later on. We would be much better off to just discipline ourselves right now, so that later on, we don't have to carry that heavy load of regret. I mean, how many times have we acted on our emotions and said something that we know we shouldn't say, and later on, it ends up hurting us in that relationship? How many people today act on their emotions and they get involved in a relationship outside of their marriage, and later on, it ends up tearing the whole family apart? Friends, the pain of discipline is minuscule compared to the pain of regret.
How many marriages have ended because of social media? Your grandparents that's been married for 30, 40, 50 years did not have social media to contribute to the dysfunction of their marriage. We are growing up in a technology age where communicating and social networking has went to a whole nother stratosphere. So technically, it's became even more challenging to be in a functioning, healthy marriage or relationship.
How easy is it to get up in the morning when you know you're not doing all that it takes? It's not very easy at all. You can just lay there awake thinking, oh, what's a few more minutes in bed? It won't matter much anyway. Wrong. It does matter. It will matter. Now, how easy is it to get up in the morning when you're pouring it on, doing the best you can, anxious to get going, make progress toward your dreams? It's a whole different story. When you're resting to renew your reserves, it's much different than resting to avoid your day. When you're psyched up and excited for your life, when you're excited for what you've planned to accomplish for the day, it's amazing you'll wake up before the alarm clock even tries to startle you awake. Your successes fuel your ambition. Your successes give you extra energy. Your successes pave the way for more successes. It's the snowball effect. With one success, you're excited to meet another, and another, and another. And pretty soon, the disciplines that were so difficult in the beginning, the disciplines that got you going, are now part of your philosophy. How do you know when you're successful? Do you have to be a millionaire? No. All we ask of you is that you earn all you possibly can. If you earn $10,000 a year and that's the best you can do, that's enough. God and everything else will see to it that you're okay. The key is to just do the best you can. If it's $10,000 a year, wonderful. If it's $100,000 a year, wonderful. If it's $1 million a year, wonderful. It doesn't matter 10,000 a year or 1,000,000 a year. It doesn't matter as long as you've done the best you possibly can. Earn the most you possibly can. Be the most you possibly can. And here's why. The essence of life is growth. The essence of life is growth, to do the best you can. And here's what's interesting. Humans are the only life form that will do less than they possibly can. Humans are the only life form that will settle for less. Every other life form except human beings strive to its maximum capacity. How tall will a tree grow? Approximately. As tall as it possibly can. You never heard of a tree growing half as high as it could. No, trees don't grow half. Trees send their roots down as deep as possible, stretch their limbs up as high as possible, produce every leaf possible and every fruit possible. As a matter of fact, you never heard of a human physically growing half. We keep growing until we're done. Now that's a part of life we can't control.
Find out who you're associating with. If those people add something to you, if they give you something in return, or is it all just a give and take, meaning like they just take and then you give? That's a bad relationship, man. Get the negative energy out of life. These people that you're around, they're always complaining and everything else. They're taking part of your soul. You only have so much to give every single day. Why waste it on that, guys? You gotta love yourself in order to love somebody else, guys. You gotta be whole and happy with who you are if you can never help somebody else out. People say, oh, it's selfish to just care about yourself. Well, if you need some fixing and reworking, it's not selfish, because you can get yourself better and then be able to really lend a hand in an honest way to somebody to really help them out.
I want you to ask yourself, do I love myself enough to give myself permission to go after what I want? Like, do I love myself enough to exercise this weekend? Do I love myself enough to study that extra hour? Because when you can start saying yes to loving yourself, you start to realize just how far you're able to go. And I wish people knew that the ability to succeed, it's all inside of you. It's never been hidden. It's just, do you love yourself enough to let it out? The best version of yourself is so beautiful and so amazing. And yes, people may not accept you all the time and they may hurt you, but I don't want you to keep that in, because you were meant to be a certain type of person, and there's somebody out there in this world who needs to see you for who you are.
The growing of our minds, the expansion of our minds, that we can control. And that's what tends to get away from us. All life forms inherently strive to their max except human beings. Now, why wouldn't human beings strive to their maximum possibility? Here's why. Because we've been given the dignity of choice. It makes us different than alligators and trees and birds. The dignity of choice makes us different than all other life forms. And here's the choice. To become part of what we could be, enough to get by, or to become all that we can be. My best advice for you is to choose the all. Earn all you can, make all the friends you can, read as many books as you can, develop as many skills as you can, see as much as possible, do as much as possible, make as much fortune as possible, give as much of it away as possible. The max. There's no life like it. I'm telling you, once I got on track, I've never looked back. Pick up the challenge. Go for it. Take the best of the two easies. Take the route of it's easy to get ahead. It's easy to do all you can. It's easy to succeed. It's easy to have financial freedom. The more you do, the more you get. So the two primary benefits of positive reinforcement are, number one, to build good habits, and number two, to create more energy to fuel your ambitions, your desires, your achievements. How can you isolate what's working for you and what isn't? How can you make sure that you are reinforcing your positive disciplines? Well, if it isn't apparent, easy to see right away, if what you're doing is happening in such small increments that you're not sure if you're on track, then you need to be writing it down. You need to keep a journal anyway. But if you really aren't sure that what you're doing is making measurable progress, you need to keep a written record. You need to write down everything that may be relevant in your day. What you did, who you saw, what you felt, how it may or may not affect you now and in the future. The best way to track your activities of the day is to write them down. The best way to track your activities of the week is to write them down. The best way to analyze your progress through the year is to have written it down. Why? So you can look back on it. Because by keeping a written record of your life, you will be more accountable. By putting into writing the action steps that you have planned, you will easily see what works and what doesn't. Most people just try to get through the day, never writing anything down, never keeping track of their progress along the way, never really knowing if they are doing all they can to reach their goals, to drive their ambition. But gifted people learn to get from the day. They don't let a day end without picking up some valuable experience, some emotional content, some idea that may positively affect their future. To get the most from a day, to learn the most from a day, you need to be able to reflect on the day. And how can you reflect on a day unless you record it in history?